What is up, you guys? It is me, RC 2001 Studios here, and today I'm going to be reviewing the Bandai 1974 Godzilla figure, and yeah, one of my newer figures actually, and yeah. So, I'm pretty glad that, you guys enjoyed that toy footage that I did yesterday. I would have made it longer, but I just felt too lazy, so I only cut 4 seconds of the scene, but yeah. So, yeah, I'm going to be reviewing the Bandai Movie Monster Series 1974 Godzilla figure for you guys, and yeah. So I guess we could start off with history. This incarnation of Godzilla first appeared in Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla. But actually, his head was changed a bit different. Well, what I mean by that is, in Godzilla vs. Megalon, he had a different head, and then in Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla, he had a different head. And in Terror of Mechagodzilla, he had a different head. But, all three of those movies featured the same, Godzilla body suit, or whatever, I should say. And, yeah. I didn't get this figure with the tag, but I don't really care. I mean, I still got this guy for a good price. And, yeah. So, I guess we'll start off with, articulation. Alright, so now I'll be talking about the articulation on this figure. So the articulation for this figure is actually pretty good and simple. Bandai gave us a 360 rotatable head for this figure, and yeah, I really think that's neat because most Bandai vinyl figures, they usually rotate at the base of the neck. So if you're making a stop motion, you could actually have this guy, moving his head side to side instead of, having his neck side moving side to side as well. And yeah, I just really like that they gave us, a rotatable head instead of just a rotatable neck. Yeah. Then you have arms that kind of rotate just back and forth. I would say 360, but I don't know. I mean, they can rotate 360, I guess, but you just gotta pull them out a bit. Then you have 360 rotatable legs. The only problem that I have with the legs, moving, is just that they kind of rub against the side of the tail, and I don't really like that. So it would have been nice if Bandai kind of sculpted this figure's legs kind of like they did with the Bandai 1968 Godzilla, where they don't really, rub against the figure's tail, and they're just it looks like it's connected to the body. I would have liked if they did that instead. And yeah, you have a glue seal on the tail, which I broke, but I wasn't pleased with it because it was just really loose. I mean, it just hang out basically. So yeah, I used the blow dryer and everything. I don't know why it didn't stay in, but whatever. I just super glued the tail, but yeah, now it's in there. So yeah, I broke the glue seal, but I super glued it again just because it was kind of loose. And yeah, and I don't really care if the tail can't rotate. I'd rather have the head being a rotatable part of his body than the tail, in my opinion. So yeah, the articulation for this figure is actually pretty good. So now I'll be showing you guys this figure's paint job. So the paint job on this figure is really nicely done. For his body, as you could see, Bandai kind of chose this charcoal black color, which looks really nice, and it just really overall suits the figure. You also have some nice highlights on the figure. For example, of course, on his belly, you have that little light streak of this kind of grayish color, which looks nice. You also have some highlights on the kneecaps. You could barely see them, but it's just this nice little light gray wash color, which looks nice. As well, on the top of the head, you have this nice, like I said, lightish gray color highlight. And yeah, I really like the fingernails on this figure as well. They're really nicely done. Instead of this kind of bone white color, they chose instead to use this kind of dark grayish color. You could barely see it, but yeah. As well as the toenails, again, that same dark gray color, which looks really nice. Really like that instead of the bone white color that they, typically use for a Godzilla figure. And yeah, the dorsal fins on this figure are really nicely done as well. As you could see, Bandai chose this metallic silver for the dorsal fins, which looks really nicely done. I mean, I just really love these dorsal fins. It's better than that generic white color that we typically see on most Godzilla figures. But yeah, and it also just, gives it that unique look from the other Godzillas out there. So yeah, the paint job on this figure is really nice and suits the figure. Alright, so now I'll be showing you guys this figure sculpt and detail. So the sculpt and detail on this figure is really nice. First, of course, we're gonna be talking about sculpt first. So the sculpt on this figure, like I said, is really impressive. Especially the head sculpt. I mean, just look at that head sculpt. It's just phenomenal. Bandai just really captured the look of the 1974 suit. And yeah, I mean, that's the thing you gotta love about Bandai. They always do an amazing job when it comes to capturing the distinct looks of, the Godzilla suits in the entire franchise. But yeah, I mean, if you look at this figure from the side angle, or profile view, whatever you want to call it, if you look at this figure from the side view, front view, like that, or whatever, I mean, you could just automatically tell this figure's supposed to represent the 1974 suit. And yeah, one thing I also really like is the way the dorsal fins are sculpted. The dorsal fins are nicely sculpted. If you have the 75 figure, he pretty much has the same dorsal fins like that figure as well. But yeah, I really like the body sculpt as well. I mean, it's just nicely proportioned. There's really nothing I could say about the body sculpt that's bad. And I mean, the head sculpt as well. The head sculpt's just amazing. There's, again, no flaws that I could point out about the head sculpt. I mean, this figure, in a way, actually does a good job representing both the 73 suit and the 74 suit. But yeah, I mean, I just really love the head sculpt. Overall, the sculpting and the body sculpt and the head sculpt, everything on this figure when it comes to sculpt is just absolutely amazing. So yeah, the detail on this figure as well is really nicely done. You could see you have some nice scales and stuff on the arms. I mean, just look at those nice scales. On the chest, you have some really nice detail. I really like on his little belly streak or whatever, you have some nice little bumpy scales. Yeah, it has a really nice kind of rough texture, but looks nice. The legs have really nice skin detail as well. I really like how there's even bumps on the sides of the feet, which is really nice. There's no detail on the bottom of the feet, but whatever. The top of the head is really nicely detailed. Just look at all those scales as well as the neck. And yeah. And like I said, really nice detail on this figure. Even on the dorsal fins, you have some really nice detail as well. You have those little like bumps and stuff. Really nice texture as well. But yeah, one thing I really like as well, and I did not point this out, I just noticed this as well because Gojira 2012 pointed this out, but he pointed out that one of the dorsal fins is actually crooked. I mean, I just really like that. That's, that's just awesome that Bandai, did that with this figure. But yeah, I really like the dorsal fins as well. The tail has nice detail as well. Just the skin detail on this figure is really nicely done. Really impressive by Bandai. So yeah, now I'll be talking about sizing next. Alright, as for sizing, this figure sizes up pretty well with your other 6-inch Bandai Godzilla figures. And yeah, he just sizes up pretty well with many of the other figures from the 6-inch Bandai line. Well, anyways, here he is next to the Bandai Godzilla Island series in Gears. Again, like I said, this looks pretty good. So yeah, if you wanted to make a stop motion with them together, this looks good. And yeah, just gonna move him a little bit back. Okay, there we go. Here he is with another monster that was with him in Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla, King Caesar. So yeah, this looks pretty good. Like I said, it looks pretty good. I don't see no problems with it. From the looks of it, I think King Caesar was taller than him in the movie. So yeah, this looks good. And yeah. And since I don't have the Bandai Creations Mechagodzilla 1974 figure, But actually, I quite honestly, I don't really like that figure anyways. I'm going to be using the Bandai 1975 Mechagodzilla figure instead. Let me just move him a little bit closer. So yeah, as you see, Mechagodzilla's a bit taller, and I'm pretty sure they were about the same size, because Mechagodzilla 1975 is like 50 meters, and pretty much all the Showa Godzillas are 50 meters, so yeah, this looks pretty good. So yeah. As you can see, this figure pretty much scales good with your other 6-inch Bandai Godzilla figures out there. So yeah. Now I'm gonna give you guys my final ratings for this figure. So overall, I really recommend this figure. It's a great figure. It has pretty good articulation. It's simple, but it's good. The paint job on this figure is really good as well. You know, all the nice little highlights and stuff like that. The sculpt on this figure is really good, especially the head sculpt. I mean, it's probably the best part of the figure, and it should be. And yeah, I just overall highly recommend this figure. It's a great looking figure, and it'll especially look nice in your collection. And yeah. So yeah, and if you ever, and for you people who want to buy this figure, I say wait for right now, maybe because this figure is pretty rare. So if you really want to, you know, get this figure, I say wait for right now until someone puts this figure for a cheap price. But yeah, I highly recommend this figure. It's a great figure. I give this figure a 10 out of 10 just because of the fantastic, you know, paint job, sculpt, and good articulation. So yeah, guys, hope you guys enjoyed this figure review. And yeah, I highly recommend this figure for anyone who's a fan of the 70s Godzilla movies. So yeah, guys, hope you guys have a nice day.